Hey guys, welcome back. So, this morning, very early hours in the morning, 343 released a blog post answering a bunch of very frequently asked questions regarding Infinite so far. And I'm gonna be honest, there are some answers in here that you're not gonna like, that I absolutely detest. There are some positive ones, but I'm just gonna go through it all, just look at what they've said, talk about it a little bit. I originally wasn't gonna make a video today because obviously I uploaded yesterday, but here we are. I need to comment on this because there's a lot of things in here that I'm really not happy with. So let's start off with the first thing they spoke about, the graphics. So they actually mentioned the graphics and the issues with them. They said that obviously Infinite is returning to a classic art style, which means a return to a more simple and less visually noisy set of designs, which I agree with. That's good. That was one of my main complaints with Halo 4 and Halo 5. All of the designs looked far too over-detailed and heavily detailed to the point of a fault, which I didn't like, and it's good to see them going back to classic designs. They then went on to talk about the actual graphical issues, those being the fact that the graphics don't look very good at all. And they also mentioned that they've seen all of the fan retouches and paintovers, and also that one Digital Foundry video, they've seen it as well. They agree that they need to raise the visual fidelity and the overall presentation of the game for launch, which is good. They then went on to say that the campaign demo that we saw was on a work-in-progress build from several weeks ago, with various graphical elements and game systems that were still being finished and polished. The fact that that build was from a few weeks ago, yes, it's work in progress, I acknowledge that, but the fact that that was from only a few weeks ago is still kind of worrying. It is what it is, I guess. They said that some of the feedback that they got, notably the negative stuff, was expected, but the other feedback has actually brought new opportunities and considerations to light that the team is taking seriously and working to address, which sounds good. Maybe there's some things that they never thought of that we thought of as a community that they're like, oh yeah, that looks cool, let's implement that, or let's try that out and see how it works, which is good. That's why giving feedback, giving constructive criticism is always a good thing. As long as it's constructive, it's always beneficial, so keep it up, guys, keep it up. And then Uni rounded off by saying that the team are working on plans to address this feedback regarding detail, clarity, and overall fidelity, which is good. I don't think much is going to change before launch, to be perfectly honest with you, considering that this game is built to run on the original Xbox One. That is the worst anchor possible. I don't think this game is suddenly going to look like, I don't know, Ghost of Tsushima or something by launch. It might look better, but I would temper your expectations, quite honestly. Uni then touches on their plans for the multiplayer beta and flighting, and he was very honest with us, which is great. We need this honesty and transparency, and he literally just said, like, look, we had massive plans for large-scale flighting for this year, and because of COVID, those plans aren't where they intended them to be. And he said that at this time, they're honestly not sure what is going to be possible in terms of flighting, but they still do want a broader public hands-on before launch, which I genuinely appreciate the honesty and transparency. That's great, but at the same time, that does worry me. I don't know. I have to wait and see, I guess. That old cookie again. I'll have to wait and see. He then moved on to talking about a lot of the questions people were asking about, like, what happened to Blue Team, or Osiris, or Atriox, or the Arbiter, or Lasky, or Palmer, or X, Y, and Z character from Halo 5 or Halo Wars 2, and he simply just said, rest assured, many of your questions will be answered in time just by playing the game, which is fine with me. I don't want questions like that answering in a trailer or a demo. Like, I want that to be answered in the game as I play. I don't want to have that spoiled for me in a demo or something. So, yep, totally on board with that. Totally on board. Another brief little thing that's kind of cool is that campaign demo, not that this is that surprising, but that campaign demo will be a playable section of the game. You can go and destroy those AA turrets in the game, as you could have done in the demo. I mean, it's not really that surprising, but it's cool to see, I guess. Something very good, actually, that they mentioned, which is quite funny because the video that I uploaded yesterday made a big point about this. Apparently, they've tried to reduce the amount of kill barriers and return to battlefield barriers as much as possible to allow for exploration. And again, Uni reiterated that if you can see it, you should be able to go to it, which I really hope that's not some Todd Howard level smoke and mirrors for marketing, and that actually is the case. I also hope that the open world isn't really wide and not very, oh, hit the mic, not very, it isn't like just wide and not very deep. It needs to be wide and deep. But again, that's a topic to touch on closer to launch when we know more about the open world. The new BR is the BR75, which is interesting considering obviously it's a higher version than the BR55, but it's actually a lower version than the BR85 and was it the BR85HB in Halo 5, which indicates to me that the UNSC are having to dip into older tech and aren't just redesigning their assets and their weapons and stuff to look classic. They're actually having to dip into slightly out-of-date tech, which I'm a big fan of. I love that idea. It's kind of a cool narrative way of explaining a lot of the designs. Right. Here's the big one. Now, brace yourself because I'm probably going to rant for a little bit. Apologies, but it is the way that it is. The Classic Magnum and the Tactical Shotgun, which is the M45 or M90 from Halo, like Classic Halo or from Halo 4 and 5, aren't currently featured in Halo Infinite. They have been replaced by the Mark 50 Sidekick and the Bulldog. It's the Halo 5 spanker all over again. They didn't learn. They tried this with the rocket launcher in Halo 5. Everyone kicked up a fuss because the green tube, although yes, it was technically featured in Reach concept art, didn't look Halo. It just looked like a generic bazooka. And so what did they do? They added the spanker back a few months after launch, which, by the way, still not happy with. Should have been there at launch, but at least they added it to the game. Yeah, the Sidekick and the Bulldog are replacing the classic variants in a game that is being heralded as a return to classic Halo's art style. I mean, not even like 5 paragraphs above this, they said that Infinite is a return to a more classic art style. And then here they are, confirming 2 of the most iconic designs in Halo's entire classic art style have been replaced by 2 of the most boring generic-looking ones. That is in no way an insult to the artists that designed them. The actual models themselves are great. If they were in the game alongside the classic designs, I would be so down for them. I absolutely love it when games explore like weapon subclasses and stuff and add variants of existing subclasses and weapons to sort of spice it up a little bit. I love it when games do that. I love to see Halo's universe being fleshed out with more designs like that, not when they replace them like this. Something I'm seeing a lot of people saying, and I think they even referenced this in the blog post, people are comparing the Sidekick to Halo 2's Magnum, because obviously Halo 2's Magnum was quite a big visual and also gameplay departure from Halo CE's M6D. But I don't agree with that, honestly. I staunchly disagree with that. Halo 2's Magnum, like, yeah, it wasn't an amazing design, and it was far less interesting than Halo CE's Magnum, but it retained so many of the unique design decisions of the M6D, so, like, the massive trigger frame, the little bit at the back of the slide where the iron sights are, the general frame and body of the weapon looked very similar, but it was just a bit of a more muted, sort of softened design of the M6D. This isn't. This is just some boring 10mm pistol that looks exactly like either a SIG P226, a 5.7, or like a Smith & Wesson M&P. It's like you get those 3 pistols and just mash them together, you get this, right? At the very least, give it some lights on the iron sights. Give it green lights on the iron sights. Same for the Bulldog as well. It would look so much better if you did that. I honestly cannot put into words how unbelievably disappointed I am with this decision. Not to get all melodramatic again, because at the end of the day, it's just a weapon design, but, I mean, the visual design, and also the sound of them both as well. Halo 5's Magnum, I was not particularly a fan of the design, but the sound was really cool. The actual audio feedback on the gun was really, really good. Why does this one? Why does the Sidekick just sound so generic? Why does the Bulldog sound so boring compared to, like, the Halo 4 M90, or the Halo 3, or Halo Reach, or Halo 2, or Halo CE M45? It sounds so much less interesting. That doesn't make any sense. I just phrased that really badly, but it just sounds so uninteresting. Reading further into this, it seems like from a gameplay perspective, the Sidekick is going to function like Halo 5's Gunfighter Magnum, was it? That really fast one, like the quick draw thing, which I thought was really cool as an additive to the regular Magnum, but nope, now it's just the Magnum, apparently. And then the Bulldog sounds like sort of different functioning shotgun, which again, sounds good. Like, if these weapons were in the game, and looked and functioned different to the existing M45 or M60 or whatever iteration of the shotgun and Magnum they'd use, I'd be so down for this. I'd be so happy. I loved Halo 5's weapon variants. Like, for all the stick that I give that game, the weapon variants, I loved them. I thought it was a fantastic idea, and this just, it goes against that philosophy completely. They then go on to say that they have robust plans to continue evolving the game, including additions to its sandbox. Which sounds like, oh yeah, in the future we might add them back. But I'm sorry, right? After Halo 5, I'm sick of hearing they might come in the future. It's the exact thing that I feared with this game being such a heavy live service game. There are definitely cool elements of it, but this right here is the exact thing that I feared with a game being live service. I'm sorry, but I'm not waiting for a design that should be in the game on day one. I'm not doing that again. Halo 5 had us do that with the Spanker. I'm not waiting for like 2 or 3 months for a design that should be in the game when the only design that's in the game to replace it doesn't look like it belongs in the game. It's... oh my god, it was a miserable experience of Halo 5, and I don't want to do that again. We shouldn't have to do that again. I thought they'd learn after Halo 5, but guess not. Guess not. I will say, just to put a positive spin on this, I am actually quite excited by the sound of variants of these weapons, as they say that there are going to be existing variants of these weapons, the Sidekick and the Bulldog in the game. So I guess that confirms weapon variants, which I'm happy about. Like I just said, I really like them in Halo 5. So at the very least, to put a positive note on this, I'm excited to see the variants of the weapons in the game. I mean, it's not even surprising that the game has variants either, because below some of the pickup tooltips, you could see like different like weapon variant classes or something. So I'm not really surprised that they're in the game, but I'm excited for that nonetheless. To pull a diamond out of a shit situation, I'm happy with that nonetheless. And then, yeah, everything else in this article is just stuff that we basically already know, stuff that I've already covered in videos. Besides one thing, apparently the theme has got into Craig's head. Do I smell some Craiglore? I think I smell some Craiglore, and, you know, if that ends up happening, then you know your boy's going to be covering that Craiglore in a video. Of course I am. Okay, the final thing for today is something of a leak, kind of, courtesy of all places, Smith's Toys. Why do the leaks for this game come from the weirdest places? So it actually talks a little bit about multiplayer, and says that the multiplayer is free to play. So, where do I begin? The good stuff regarding this, the positive notes of this, are that the population will be massive. There will be no barrier to entry for Halo Infinite. All you've got to do is own like a PC or an Xbox, and then you can play the multiplayer. If this is true, of course, which is very exciting. Halo is going to have a reach like never before. That sounds good, but I'm sorry, but this just makes me so worried about microtransactions. They're going to have to monetize the ever-living shit out of this game to bring in money if it's going to be free to play. The monetization is going to be... yikes. That's all I'm going to say. I can already see the comments now, like people saying, well, Modern Warfare Warzone is free to play, and the micros in that game are good. They're cosmetic. Just do cosmetic-only microtransactions. But, like, in a game like Call of Duty, where you don't have a 16-year legacy of character customization and player expression like you do with Halo, that's fine. But when you have that legacy like you do with Halo, I'm sorry, cosmetic-only microtransactions don't work. They invalidate progression systems and unlock systems that Halo was always so good at doing. It just comes in and invalidates them, like Halo 5 did, for example. Honestly, reading this, I have next to no hope regarding microtransactions in this game. I think they're going to be quite run-of-the-mill for the industry nowadays. It's going to be like a battle pass, like here, actually talking about battle passes, Clobriel, who's a pretty reputable Xbox leaker, said here that the game's going to have a battle pass system, which is so boring. I'm going to be honest, it's so boring compared to like Halo 3's unlock system, Halo Reach's unlock system, and Halo 4's unlock system. Those 3 games nailed progression and unlocks, and if all we're doing is a battle pass, then, oh god, it's so boring. Oof. But yeah, just to put a positive note on all of this, Clobriel said that there are going to be customization options that are completely new to Halo, which sounds really, really exciting until you consider microtransactions. So, I don't know. I'm going to really try and hold out any judgment that I have for this until we find out more information. But I'm going to be honest, hearing this, it makes me worried. It makes me very, very worried for microtransactions in this game. And yeah, they also confirmed here that 120 FPS is going to be the goal for this game, which is great. The game is going to feel so smooth on a high refresh rate monitor, so I'm really looking forward to that. And apparently as well, the Series X is going to have reduced load times, which is cool, but I wish it was getting more support than that. I wish this game was designed for the Series X, not just enhanced for it, but it is what it is. Can't really change that anymore. Yeah, so yeah, that's all I really wanted to touch on this video. I just wanted to give my very immediate thoughts. I've only been awake for like half an hour at this point, so if I look a bit rough, then that's why. I just wanted to get my thoughts out immediately. Give me your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments on all this stuff. Like I said yesterday, I'll have a proper video about Zetahilo, a nice, in-depth, comprehensive lore video about the history and like the topography of Zetahilo coming out. Probably like early-ish next week, like Tuesday maybe or Wednesday. So look out for that bad boy. Should be a really good video. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one.